announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Oh, you didn't know?
You ready? Let's go.
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? Feed me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my name is Big Daddy Cool Vinny Apicella, and this is the Sportswire Podcast. We are here on Saturday, July 25th, 2015. As a matter of fact, today is a big day for the Sportswire. First off, that's right, we are recording this podcast, or I am recording this podcast right now. It'll be dropped as soon as I'm done and I get I start promoting it. It'll be dropped. You can come by and listen to it anytime you want. Secondly, tonight, July 25th, 2015, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Fat Cat Radio, I will be broadcasting the Connecticut Panthers opening home game. And we're gonna be live at 6 with the pregame. Kickoff is at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Definitely tune in for that. And you could definitely come on down, come on by. It'll be live from Meriden, Connecticut, Falcon Field. We are set to go with minor pro football action, NFL, AAA division action. Connecticut Panthers, the defending national champions for the semi-pro football. Okay, so we've got a lot to talk about today on the Sportswire. We've got, it's one of those things where it's going to be sports related, but it's not necessarily sports news, but it will be sports related. And now I feel like an actual sports radio person, because we're not talking about just wins and losses here. We're talking about controversial hot topics, public or current event topics, and it's something that needed to be talked about. It needs to be talked about, and I'm very outspoken anyways about certain issues, and it's a controversial type of issue. All these, what I'm going to be talking about, are controversial types of issues. So first of all, I do have to promote our websites: www.swe-ct.com, www.myfatcatradio.com. You can check out the Sportswire and all Fat Cat Radio shows from myfatcatradio.com. Check out all the Sportswires from swe-ct.com. You could also get us on Facebook, facebook.com/FatCatRadioEnterprise, Facebook.com/BDC That's my personal fan page, and Facebook.com/SportswireCT. That's the Sportswire's official fan page. Like them, follow them, send us comments, write us posts, whatever you choose to do. Get in touch with us, show us some love, because anytime you post, we'll mention you on the air. Follow us on Twitter, SoundCloud, Tumblr, Instagram, Foursquare, Pinterest. It goes on and on and on. SWE Connecticut. And then on YouTube and Google Plus is Sportswire SWE. Also on Skype, Sportswire SWE as well. This way you can get in touch with us on Skype. We're always looking for interaction with the fans. I myself have had a very up and down week this week. And I had some bumps. Not to air my dirty laundry on the air, because that's not what I'm going to do. But I just had some bumps with my girlfriend, and it's one of those things where it's a difference between somebody who, the fact is that sometimes I could have very awkward friendships with other females, and I don't realize a lot of times how much what I say no matter how joking it could be, could hurt my significant other, and that, that's exactly what happened. Without going into details, and well, like I said, it's been an up and down week. I've apologized numerous times. I'm trying to give her space. It's agonizing because I'm not that kind of person. If somebody hurts me, I want to get it taken care of that day and over with. But you know what? I got to give her space. So for guys out there that are listening, word to the wise: watch what you talk about. Make sure you have boundaries in your relationships and friendships. And once you get into a relationship, respect the hell out of it. Show her that that she's the only one that means the world to you, because if not, you're going to lose her. And I almost lost mine. And, it's one of those things where we really haven't had a lot of interaction over the past couple days because of it. And, right now it's one of those things where, I'm trying to focus on getting it back together, and I need to give her space. So, it's one of those things where it's not fixed yet. It's getting there. It's being worked on, and, the only thing I can do is give it to God and pray about it. So, with that being said, you definitely check out our, some of our sponsors. Jerry Wilson from It's So Real Productions. He is on Facebook. Check him out. Just search Jerry Wilson. BLEMG.com is another management company. And they are a couple of our sponsors there. Also check out AR Fitness. They are on Facebook. They are AR Fitness Southington, I believe.com. They are in Southington and Plainville. There's a couple different spots in Connecticut. Check them out. Also check out Sister Sue's Homemade Jams and Jellies, and they're on Facebook. And check them out. They're all just pretty awesome. All right. So, what do we have on the agenda for today? Well, quite honestly, before we get to it, here's the thing. See, the normal setup for the Sportswire is talk about 15 or 20 minutes, go to a song, and then, see where it goes from there. But I haven't, not that I haven't done anything, but I've got a lot of music to play, and it's not just going to be just full songs, mind you. It's going to be, I'm actually, this song has resonated with me all week because, you know what, I am only human. I made a mistake. And, and the people that I'm talking about, I'm going to be talking about the immortal Hulk Hogan, WWE Hall of Famer, and Colin Cowherd, former ESPN, going over to Fox radio host. We're all only human, and I think this week the controversies that happened, and even in my personal life, and it needed me to open my eyes as well, we're all only human. In the Bible, not that I'm going to be quoting scriptures all day, but in the Bible, God created us as humans knowing that we have flaws. We all fall short of God's grace. And we are only human, no matter what kind of mistakes we made, what kind of thought process. All humans, to err is human, that's another saying, but we are all humans to the point where we're not perfect. Jesus Christ, if you believe in Christianity, Jesus Christ is the only perfect half man, half God who ever lived. But see, here's the thing. When it comes down to being human, we all make mistakes. We have all done stuff in our past and have all been shaped by our past, whether it be hurt, whether it be upbringing, nature, nurture, whatever you want to say. We've all been shaped by our surroundings, by our upbringing, what we saw as kids, our teachings. So it's one of those things where you can't always just say, you know what, this person did this and that's it. No. You have to really talk and get to the bottom of why the person did what they did. If they had an upbringing where, they didn't get taught how to have respectful friendships and how to have healthy attachment to other people, yeah, you know what? It's a learning situation, but it's one of those things where you need to be able to talk things out, have communication, and and this is not just in a personal relationship. Yes, I'm going based on my personal relationship, and yes, I need to, there needs to be better communication with my girlfriend and I, and and a lot of that's on me. I'm not going to say it's on her, but you know what? We have both been shaped by our experiences, good or bad, family dynamics, just what we saw growing up. So, and then in like the case of Hulk Hogan and the WWE, there needs to be communication. In the case of ESPN and Colin Cowherd, communication. It's one of those things where any kind of relationship, be it personal relationship, friendship, employer-employee, corporation, and ambassador, countries, you need to have communication and realize that we are all human. We're all going to make mistakes. All right, so I'm going to get to our first song of the day, and this is going to set the tone for the whole episode. Here is Dean Wild, Only Human, right here on the Sportswire.
Human, I'm only human. Human, I'm only human. I'm only human, I've got emotions too. The side inside this chest is a little bruised from being used. Born strong, one of God's soldiers, living in a world full of new world order. It's taking over, moving forward, no going back. Never good to let yourself stay too attached to the past. I'm only human. We let go, too much pride, so many emotions that we try to hide, try to change the way we feel inside, the way half the world is living, it's just a lie. Where's your pride? Hide it behind a mask, it's your disguise. At night when you see Jansen, hold your head high, look up to the skies, ask the Lord, he won't lie. Human, I'm only human. Human, I'm only human. Can you protect me from evil, God? Can you save my life? Got the angels with me on my left shoulder, but the devil's on my right. Take me for a ride so I can see the light. Opened up my eyes to the bigger picture. My future's looking bright. I'm only human. Dean Wild, Stay Blessed Productions. Yeah. Human, I'm only human. Human, I'm only human.
That's right. First thing we'll be talking about is WWE Hall of Famer, the immortal Hulk Hogan. And this song, I have to say, is probably one of the absolute best songs ever, in my opinion. Real American, Rick Derringer. It's a great workout song, great song all around. And I really happen to think that it's just awesome. But you know what? So the controversy surrounding the immortal Hulk Hogan is this. Okay? Earlier this week, it was found out. Now, we all know about this sex tape that Gawker released because Bubba the Love Sponge recorded Hulk Hogan sleeping with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife without his consent, and they released it, and Hulk Hogan ended up he's suing Gawker. Okay, that's what it is. He's suing Gawker. This happened 8 years ago. And apparently in the sex tape, he was talking to, whatever her name is, Clem, I can't even remember the name, but Heather Clem, that's right. He was talking to her, okay, they were, whether it was post-coital or pre-coital, whatever, I don't know, I didn't see the tape, I don't want to see the tape, but the fact is he was talking to her and saying, he was using the N-word and, saying how Brooke slept with an N and, if, he's saying that, he is racist or don't get me wrong, I am effing racist or whatever. And if Brooke is going to sleep with an N, it should be a multi-million-dollar or a 6'8" tall N that makes billions of dollars in the NBA. Will, and that's what it is. All right, he goes over that, and he. And am I saying that it's right? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's no such thing as that, or should I say, there should be no racism in this world. Okay, there shouldn't be anything. But I have a problem because here's what happened. Here's the fallout. Now, WWE is claiming that they fired Hogan and released him from terminated his contract. They're scrubbing him from everything on WWE.com. They took him They took his mention out of the Hall of Fame. Off the Hall of Fame page. They took him off Tough Enough. They took him off their Australian tour that he was supposed to be general manager of. They're taking him off absolutely everything. Basically, they're ostracizing him. They're giving him the Chris Benoit treatment, which I see. I'll get into that in just a couple minutes. But it's one of those things where I'm not ever going to denote somebody using the N-word because you know what? It's one of those things where it's derogatory. It's derogatory towards African Americans, and you know what? We need to worry about love in this world and erase the hate. Do I feel that Hulk Hogan is a racist person? Absolutely not. If I've met him once. I'm not saying I really had a long conversation with him, but I met him once, and I really felt that after watching him for 30 years, he's one of the most genuine guys around. I read both of his books. I mean, for him to say that Layla Ali is one of his closest friends and she's an African American woman, that to me that's not racist. Shaquille O'Neal is one of his best friends. And he's an African American. Dennis Rodman he teamed with twice in WCW. He teamed with Mr. T on the original WrestleMania. Mike Tyson is big time friends with him. So it's like, I don't understand where the people are coming and taking their words out of context. His Dennis Rodman came to his defense and said, Hulk Hogan has not ever shown any kind of racist bone in his body. Virgil, the former lackey for Ted DiBiase became Vincent in the NWO, and then Curly Bill in the West Texas Rednecks. But he came to bat for Hogan and said, Hulk Hogan has done more for my career than anybody else. Mick Foley came to Hogan's, defense. And, it's one of those things where if something is taken out of context, number one, this is what I have the problem with. All right? My buddy, who is an on-air talent at iHeartRadio, okay? I'm not going to give you out his name, because because of respect, I haven't asked him if I could use it, but he posted something on Facebook. And it says here, I'll read it directly. 8 years ago, in a sex tape that was being taped without his consent or knowledge by his supposed quote-unquote best friend, who stabbed him in the back, while what he said was bad, who hasn't said something in private that was wrong, you just have the luxury of not being secretly recorded. And then he quotes the Bible, let he among you without sin, who is without sin, cast the first stone. And that comes from the story of, Jesus with the prostitute, that the Pharisees bring the prostitute to him and, saying that she was guilty of adultery and that the punishment was stoning. And, and then Jesus is writing on the ground and says, let he among you without sin cast the first stone. Nobody threw stones because, again, we're only human. We all have flaws. We all have sin. All right. And this is not a religious thing, not a Christian thing, so don't worry. I'm not going to get into any of that. I'm not going to, okay? But see, here's the thing, and I agree with this friend of mine I mean, I'd love to go on his show that gets Sportswire some big time publicity, but or have him come on here. But it's like one of those things where I agree with him because first of all, he was being filmed in secret, and who among us have not gotten upset about something and really said something wrong, whether it's in the heat of the moment or whatever, to say something like that, and and he wasn't aware that he was being filmed. So it's almost, you could say it's like pillow talk, where, it's one of those things where nobody else is supposed to hear it but you and the person you're with, and so it's one of those things where Hulk Hogan now, if I were him, okay, I would add even more to the lawsuit from Gawker because now it cost him his career almost because of what he said on there. Now, like I said, what he said was wrong. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying that it's right or it's fine, or I'm not justifying it at all. But the fact of the matter is this: he was not aware that he was being filmed. So not only are you releasing a sex tape that he had no indication that he was being filmed and no knowledge that he was being filmed, and he did not give his consent, now something on the tape is causing him to lose his career. I mean, not only is WWE completely distancing themselves, they have removed all mentions of him on their website, okay? And they're working on removing everything from the network as well. They already removed Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling. TNA is also removing Hulk Hogan from their history as well. So it's one of those things where, this guy has been, in the spotlight for 40 years now. And, that's his career. That's his legacy. And he's losing it all for something he said that he thought was in private and not, I don't want to say confidence, but it was not meant for the public to hear. Now, like I said, if something is not meant to be heard or read by somebody, that does not make it right. That doesn't mean that you could just go around and say things that you don't mean somebody to hear, because if you get caught, that's one of those things where you're only sorry because you got caught. So I'm not saying that something there, that's the reason, that, you're sorry you got caught, or, the only reason why you're upset is because it wasn't. Either way, it was bad that he said it. The fact of the matter is that he never gave consent to be filmed or recorded, and he might have been feeling something that day where he was upset, or whatever the case may be. Let me put it to this way, and again, I'm not doing any racial. I'm not trying to be racist at all. I'm just giving you a situation. Let's say that Hulk Hogan found out that his daughter Brooke was sleeping with an African American guy. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but he let's just say hypothetically he got out of prison the week before, and I'm not going to give a specific crime. I'm just going to say he got out of prison the week before. It could have been something as small as drugs, marijuana. All right, but he just got out of prison the week before. So now Hogan is, with this woman who he thinks is, he's going to sleep with her. He thinks it's all in private. He's upset. He's like, why is she sleeping with this kind of this kind of person? And, when if she wants to sleep with that kind of person, at least be somebody that can make money legitimately by playing basketball. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he plays in the stereotypes. Yeah, it's a racial thing. But you know what? It's out of context. Okay, it's out of context, and I you know what? I will tell you from the bottom of my heart, I am still a Hulkamaniac. I still support Hulkamania, and that's all there is to it. I still feel before I get to another thing that I posted earlier today, I want to go back through. I got 3 different songs. I'm going to play a snippet of it. But there's been a lot of questionable or controversial storylines in the WWE that, Vince McMahon himself could potentially get in trouble for racism. Because he does play the race card. First one I'll play is this.
It's the Mac Militant. Coming to get it on. Get out of my way, I'm coming to thunder and lightning. Feel the pain that I try to contain. My heart is black as the blood in my veins, and I'm coming to get it on. Hey, yo, I break and smash.
All right. Can you, for those of you that can place it, now that song was used for one particular character, and it wasn't. And I'm not saying that it was used for one particular character. When that character left, it became Teddy Long's theme song. I'm not saying anything that Teddy Long did would be considered racism, but Rodney Mack, who Teddy Long was his manager before becoming, the greatest GM in SmackDown history, Rodney Mack used that song, and he was an African American guy. To me, he wasn't, dark black, but he was black, and he came down to the ring every episode of Raw and gave the 3-minute white boy challenge. If that's not racist, I don't know what is. So, all right, so that's only one. Next one.
Yo, 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 yo. Pop a 40 and check your rollies. It's crime time.
Brooklyn. We're bringing it. We're bringing the hood to you. We're bringing it. What you gonna do? We're bringing it. We're bringing the hood to you. We're bringing it. Yeah, that's how. Hey, yo, no more Hollywood. Nah. This is Hollywood, and it's crime time. Be scared? You probably should.
All right, so that's another one. Crime Time. Crime Time was one of those storylines that, really it could have been considered a racially driven, stereotypical storyline, because of the simple fact that, they were two African Americans, Shad Gaspard and JTG. Neither one of them are with the WWE anymore. But it's one of those things where, why play on the stereotype of them, being in the hood, or about crime and stealing stuff. And that's what it was. They were always stealing stuff from and it was done in a comical fashion because they were baby faces. But again, it's one of those angles that could be perceived as stereotypically racist. And, so that's the second one. Let me go one more. This is probably the doozy, where everybody will know it.
We are the nation of domination. Nation of domination. Nation of domination. We are the nation of domination.
All right, and that's, obviously it's the Nation of Domination. But, again, it was a black militant group where the only white person in the group was Owen Hart towards the later end of the run. But who was in that faction? It was Ron Simmons, Farouk, the very first African American champion in I don't want to say in history, but in WCW. Ron Simmons, who was Farouk, the Godfather, Kama Mustafa, Mark Henry, D'Lo Brown, and then The Rock. They're all of African descent. And, it could be perceived as a black militant group because of the way that they presented themselves. And during the Attitude Era, that was, what it was. And now, I will say this, that during all of those storylines and all of those characters, America wasn't in this PC-sensitive, overly sensitive society that it was. That it's in now. America is overly sensitive, always looking to be offended by something. And Roddy Piper, who is a WWE legend, WWE Hall of Famer, and he recently got terminated from his contract as well because of an issue with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was on the Rich Eisen show on TV the other day to talk about this issue, and he basically said that America is a bunch of wusses now. They're looking to be offended by something. Get over it, live your life, and don't worry about what somebody else says. I'm paraphrasing because I don't know. I don't have the quote in front of me, but it makes sense. It really makes sense because, okay, I'm not. Like I said, I will never condone racism. I'll never condone the use of the N-word because of the simple fact that it's very, very hurtful to a lot of people. So it's one of those things where now, I just saw a funny picture, and I'm going to retweet it now. It's one of those things where we really, America has gotten to a point where we get offended by pretty much anything nowadays. And it's really, really, really sad. What happened to the most powerful country in the free world, and now we're reduced to anything anybody says, somebody finds offense with it. I could walk down the street saying I'm a Christian, and you're going to get Muslims that are going to be offended by it. Now, that's my personal belief. How could you be offended by my personal belief? And I'm not saying that racism is Hulk Hogan's personal belief. I'm not saying that one bit. But it's something that he said out of context, I believe. And, it's one of those things where, not that it was right to say, I can't stress that enough, but, it's not who he is. You have to look to the heart of people. And that's where I think America gets really dicey about, because they don't want to get to know the person before they judge them based on what they say. And that's, that's what it boils down to, is that Americans don't want to hear it when it comes to the heart of somebody. If somebody says something and, you get offended by it, you're just automatically, just like that, offended by it. And, you're going to go say whatever you have to say and bash somebody because you're offended by it, without getting to know the heart behind the person and maybe realize, maybe that was taken out of context. Maybe he was having a bad day. It's like you can't even have feelings or emotions nowadays in America and say something out of emotions without thinking, ooh, you know what, maybe that's going to offend somebody. There's a big, big problem there. Now, the reason why I had posted something earlier this morning that, I really didn't get them. I didn't get any feedback from it, which I'm very surprised. But it was, does Hulk Hogan equal Chris Benoit now? Chris Benoit, if you remember, back in 2007, murdered his wife and son and then killed himself on a weekend full of, roid rage or whatever you want to call it. And that's what it boils down to. And rightfully so, the WWE distanced themselves from it. After they found out all of the details of everything that happened, they stopped mentioning Benoit. They erased him from basically history. They can't erase him from matches, but they don't promote his matches, especially on the network. They won't air any of his DVDs. They won't air, they won't put him in the Hall of Fame, even though I think that's a little dicey. But, and more on that in a little bit. But, they've basically done the same thing to Hulk Hogan. They've wiped him from history other than his matches, but they just won't promote his matches. They won't, they won't promote him anymore. And, they've wiped him from the history. They took his link off of the Hall of Fame website, the Hall of Fame link off. And that's something, that shouldn't have anything to do with, what happened here. But, regardless, whatever the case may be, they are treating Hulk Hogan, who only said something racist in his bedroom that he wasn't aware he was being filmed in, compared to somebody who murdered his wife and child and then hung himself. And to me, there's something seriously wrong there. It's like, all right, like in baseball, where they were talking about, suspending Alex Rodriguez for life compared to Pete Rose. You're comparing apples and oranges here, okay? Gambling is wrong. Gambling on the game while you're playing or coaching is one of those things where, it is wrong. But, so that's why he got, indefinitely suspended, and people are working on trying to get him into the Hall of Fame because, quite honestly, he deserves to be there. But Alex Rodriguez used performance-enhancing drugs to help him play better. That, to me, is, in my opinion, that doesn't necessarily affect your game to the point where you're always hitting home runs out left and right. It may make your eyes better, it may make whatever better, but, it's still cheating. Regardless, it's still cheating. But did that weren't obviously it was a year suspension, and now he's back and playing better than ever, in my opinion. But, it's one of those things where you're comparing apples to oranges here. And now that you're giving somebody the same treatment that you gave Chris Benoit, it's like, sorry about that. It's like you're saying that somebody who basically says the N-word for a period of 5 minutes in their bedroom in private is just as bad as somebody going out there and killing his wife and child, and then killing himself. It's one of those things where you got to question the WWE on this. Granted, you don't want to have yourself, you don't want to have your company, especially in today's market, be associated with somebody who is a true racist. But come on now. Well, in my opinion, it is what it is. That's all there is to it. It is what it is. All right. So now that rant went on for over a half hour, but I might not be able to get all the songs I wanted. All right. But I will say this, and my stance is this: I firmly support Hulk Hogan, and I will stand behind him as a loyal Hulkamaniac, because I don't feel that 5 minutes of wrongness represents who he is as a person. Okay? No matter how wrong what he said was, in my opinion, that does not represent who Hulk Hogan is. Brooke Hogan put out a great poem on her Facebook page, which I'm still trying to find. And I won't read it on the air, but if you could find it, read it. She grew up with him. There are people that have been around him for his entire life that have said he's not a racist. So, get yourself educated before you pass judgment on anybody. All right, so we're going to get to our next song. It is AJ Jansen, who's a staple here. It's Dirty Country, right here on the Sportswire.
On the banks of a bayou, on a well-beaten path, and the songs of the Southland coming on full blast. Gonna take on the night, we'll be early morning light. Gonna stay out till the cows come home. Give me some low down, hold down, buck kicking kind of sound that makes me wanna dance. Shaking love, making heartbreaking motorists until getting kind of trash. Give me something real, something kind of sultry. Give me some dirty country. About the time I turned 18, I was down in New Orleans, making nice with all the locals in this town. Spoke to me, and I knew I had to be the luckiest girl in this country bluesy crowd. Give me some low down, hold down, ball kicking kind of sound that makes me wanna dance. Give me some earth shaking love, making heartbreaking motorists until getting kind of trash. Give me something real, something kind of sultry. Give me some something real, oh, something kind of sultry. Give me some dirty country. Give me some low down, hold down, ass kicking kind of sound that makes me wanna dance. Give me some rush shaking, love making, heartbreaking, motorist and tailgating kind of trash. Give me something real, something kind of sultry. Give me some dirty country. Give me some dirty country. Give me some D-I-R-T-Y country.
All right, and that was AJ Jansen with Dirty Country right here on the Sportswire. And, she's, like I said, she's a fantastic talent. I've played her, like, a lot over the past few, months because she's a fantastic talent. That's all there is to it. So, what else are we talking about here? All right. So the next item of debate, so to speak, is Hulk Hogan in the Hall of Fame. And here's my take on it. First of all, if you look at every other Hall of Fame, okay, be it baseball, basketball, football, they're all run by independent corporations, for lack of a better term. They're run independently of the MLB, NFL, yada, yada, yada. That's why it's not the Major League Baseball Hall of Well, it is. Well, it's the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. It's the National Football Hall of Fame Museum, not the NFL, So the WWE, quite honestly, they have their own, their own Hall of Fame, and we know that it's run by Vince, and you have to be on good terms with Vince in order to get in, as we've seen in the previous 3 years with, Bruno Sammartino, the Ultimate Warrior, and Macho Man Randy Savage. But see, here's the thing. Here's what I don't like about that setup. There is a Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. Okay, so I don't know if Chris Benoit went in or not. But Chris Benoit will never go into the WWE Hall of Fame. China has gone into the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, but she will never go into the WWE Hall of Fame. I think that if Vince was smart, okay, he would outsource the WWE Hall of Fame, to the point where he has no control over it. Where, because here's the thing, it's not about him, so to speak. It's about the fans. It's about the fans that are watching the WWE product, the WWE Universe, on a weekly, monthly, yearly, loyal fans that have watched since 1984 and the very first, or 1985, and the very first WrestleMania. Okay? So, it's one of those things where now he really should think about outsourcing it. Because now I understand, if somebody, is going to look up China who doesn't know him, an 8-year-old kid, 9-year-old, you're going to come up with some questionable things. But if a parent is smart and has blocks on their internet, they're not going to see anything. So it's one of those things where, they're not going to see China's porn career. They're going to see China's wrestling career. They're not going to see, they may see in Playboy because that was when she was with the WWE. But, if you have a parental lock on your website, on your internet browser, kids aren't going to see that kind of stuff. And not to mention there's a Wikipedia for a reason. You read that and, you find out about China's wrestling career. Hulk Hogan, do I feel he should be kicked out of the Hall of Fame for this? Absolutely not, because it takes nothing away from what he did in the ring. It's the same thing with Chris Benoit. Regardless of what he did in his personal life, regardless of what he may have done, what he did at the end of his life, that takes nothing away from what he did in the ring. He was a great talent, a fantastic talent. He was one of the best pound-for-pound wrestlers in history. And he's not going to get his rightful space in the WWE Hall of Fame because of a decision that he mentally may not have made. It may have been roid rage. It may have been one of those things where concussion syndrome. So it's one of those things where, you fear for other guys in that situation. Junior Seau, who is going into the NFL Hall of Fame this year. His family is not allowed to speak. Now, that's an entirely different subject. But he did the same thing. He killed himself after dealing with so much of headaches or whatever and brain trauma from years of football. Look at Daniel Bryan. He does the same thing, headbutt off the top of the rope that Chris Benoit did. And you fear for people like that. Bam Bam Bigelow. He OD'd on drugs, when he ultimately passed. But who knows, he wasn't trying to ease the pain from years of doing the headbutt off the top rope, and he was 400 pounds. So it's one of those things where you actually have to look at the, again, put things in context. I don't think that steroids necessarily played a role in a lot of these wrestlers. Now, a lot of them, yes, drugs, steroids, absolutely. But I don't feel it was necessarily roid rage or whatever. It could have possibly been something similar to PTSD or concussion syndrome by having too much concussion, and you forget things, and it's something that there's so much research going into nowadays. Christopher Nowinski, who was a Harvard graduate and went into the WWE. I think he was in the first or second season of Tough Enough. He started this clinic for brain, for work on the brains, in this health clinic. And he, they actually, Chris Benoit's family actually donated his brain to that so they could study the effects of concussion on brain. So there's this tremendous amount of research going into the concussion area of health and the brain area of health, because, if you're constantly coming down on your head 300 nights a year, there's something that's going to be wrong. There has to be. So that's what it boils down to. So the WWE is basically liking Hulk Hogan to Chris Benoit, in that they're scrubbing his name from them. I don't agree. There are very few times where I don't agree with the WWE, but this is one of them. I firmly believe that Hulk Hogan should stay in the Hall of Fame, because this incident right here has nothing to do with his in-ring ability. And I firmly believe that Chris Benoit needs to go into the WWE Hall of Fame, because what he did at the end of his life has absolutely nothing to do on his career. Same thing with Chyna. I believe she belongs in the Hall of Fame as well. She was a pioneer for women's wrestling. I believe Pete Rose deserves to be in the WWE. Well, he's already in the WWE Hall of Fame, but Pete Rose deserves to be in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, the National Baseball Hall of Fame. He's the all-time hits leader, folks. He deserves to be there. He had a standing ovation in Cincinnati at for All-Star festivities, and everybody still loves him. He deserves to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. All right, so I'm going to get to my next song. This is someone I haven't played much on the Sportswire lately. I think I played a couple weeks ago. Ashley Bean. The song is called right here on the Sportswire.
Forgotten dreams, is this what it might be? But I can't stop this. It's something you can't control, but you know that I'll never be alone. And
Now
but have you ever taken for each step of your life? Have you ever seen what's on the other side? I need this, can't forget the missing of the sound. It's all said and done when you can't see in front of you. I can't forget, it's not something you can risk. And this is not something you want to miss. If you hold on, this life won't be gone. If you believe, nothing will go wrong. And if you hold on, this life won't be gone. If you believe, nothing will go wrong. I need this, can't forget the missing of the sound. And it's all said and done when you can't see in front of you. I can't forget, it's not something you can risk. And this is not something you want to miss.
All right, and that was Ashley Bean with You Know right here on the Sportswire. Definitely a great talent, and yeah, absolutely great talent. All right, before I get to the next, I swear I think I must have some kind of ESP with Mick Foley. During the song, I was surfing Facebook and I had to get a couple things, and Mick Foley actually posted a link to Brooke Hogan's poem for her father, and so I'm going to actually, I'm not going to read it because it's too long and whatever, but I am going to repost it. I just got to get back to it, and I'm going to repost it on all three of our sites. But here's what Mick Foley had to say. Mick Foley just a minute ago posted this on his Facebook page. Okay. It's called A Daughter's Love. My first instinct when I heard the breaking news of Hulk Hogan's racist rant was to pile on, to get a laugh with a funny comment or a flood of likes and shares with any number of funny memes. Instead, I have tried to understand how a man I believe to be fundamentally good could use language and hold thoughts so ugly and hurtful to so many. The Hulkster messed up, no doubt about it. He's paying a heavy price for his words now and will continue to pay an emotional toll for years to come. Yesterday I decided to forego condemnation in favor of compassion. I hope you will too. Maybe this beautiful poem from his daughter Brooke will help you make that decision too. And I'm gonna share it because you know what, it needs. It's the same thing. You need to actually get your facts straight. That's all there is to it. So I'm sharing it now, and I'm going to move on from this. From this topic, we're going to get into Colin Cowherd. More possible racist things. From Colin Cowherd. Now, Colin Cowherd's a different story than Hulk Hogan. He said it on where he knew he was being recorded. He said it live on TV and radio. Okay, he made a comment that that was derogatory towards the Dominican Republic, people, players and people from the Dominican Republic. Okay? This is what he said. And this is on the show. Colin Cowherd said, "I've never bought into that. Baseball is too complex. A third of the sport is from the Dominican Republic," Cowherd explained. And there you have it. Colin Cowherd's proof Dominicans play it. So basically he was saying that, people from the Dominican Republic are dumb. And he went on to say that he never thought that the Dominican Republic had academically sound players or people or whatever the case may be. So, yes, that was hurtful. That was something that was absolutely hurtful. Now, Colin Cowherd, he was leaving ESPN anyways. He actually is, going over to Fox Sports, and he'll have his own radio show and everything. So it was almost a way to say, it was almost his swan song. I mean, he's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I will never, I will always say that. He rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I loved listening to him because he had a great way to put words out there, but again, he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So I can understand why people are upset with what he said. But again, it's like, what happened to free speech in America? Really, honestly, what happened to free speech in America? I'm not saying that you should be going around saying people are dumb or stupid or a whole mess of people are stupid. But you know what? He talked about it. That's his opinion. All right, so that's that's his opinion on the matter, and maybe he was using it as a joking effect, and that's a joking context. But again, you shouldn't be joking at somebody else's expense. So I can understand why people are hurt by it. I don't think he should have been fired over it, but it was probably ESPN's way of saying, you know what, you crossed the line one too many times, you're leaving anyways, goodbye. That's a possibility. I have to say this episode has been completely taken up by Hulk Hogan and the issue with Hulk Hogan and the racist stuff. I just came across a USAtoday.com article about Hogan, and so I'm going to read it. Here is we're gonna get to our final song. Finally, a new song from Jenna Marotta, who actually emailed me personally. It's called "Diesel Woman." Right here on the Sportswire. When I get back, I'll be reading this about Hulk Hogan.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
I got this big old pickup truck. I've been taking it to work and shit. I got myself a real fat ride. Mirrors for the side vision, dually wheels. You know it's kicking. A one hitter is packed inside.
Every time I go outside, I get a ride on the beachside trolley where the girls are fly. Guys up on 'em and the girls don't want 'em 'cause they just wanna sit and smoke their marijuana. I'm a diesel woman.
All right, and that was Jenna Marotta right here on the Sportswire with Diesel Woman. All right, so before the song, I told you that I would be going over what Hulk Hogan had said, or what the USA Today article, USAToday.com article about Hulk Hogan and you know, it says current and former WWE stars react to Hulk Hogan's firing, and this is from Friday's USA Today, so USAToday.com. Wrestling legend Hulk Hogan was fired by WWE Friday after offensive comments Hogan made 8 years ago that were caught on video were reported by the National Enquirer. Following WWE's decision to terminate Hogan's contract, Hogan apologized in a statement. It was unacceptable for me to have used that offensive language. There is no excuse for it, and I apologize for having done it. This is not who I am. I believe very strongly that every person in the world is important and should not be treated differently based on race, gender, orientation, religious beliefs, or otherwise. A number of current and former wrestlers responded to the news on Twitter. Hogan personally responded to many fans that offered him support. You know, the first one is Mick Foley that I read already, then Virgil. Booker T had a string of things that he said. He said, first of all, 20 years ago, I made a huge mistake by saying something I shouldn't have on national TV. It's 2015. The N-word should be eradicated from the English language, in my opinion. I am shocked by the statements made by Hulk Hogan. It's unfortunate, but that's something he's going to have to deal with. CM Punk said, waiting patiently for a Hogan Cosby meme to further shatter all of our memories and innocence from the 80s. You know, they had their feud a couple months ago with the NHL playoffs championship. Sean Waltman, X-Pac, just put up a picture, said, words have great power, the power to help, the power to heal, and the power to hurt. Uses power carefully. Jim Ross was asked by somebody on Twitter, your thoughts on the Hogan accusations, and Jim Ross replied, was sad, unfortunate, will follow him forever. Big E said, appropriate a culture, pilfer from its dialect, profit wildly from it, and regard its people as subhuman. Makes sense. I'm assuming that's a negative viewpoint from Big E. Mark Henry had this to say. Unfortunately, I'm getting hounded today by media regarding my thoughts about and experiences with Hulk Hogan. I prefer not to be thrust into this, but as the requests have been significant, I feel I have a responsibility to make a statement of some sort, at minimum to ease my personal burden regarding this topic. We all know that we have history as it relates to the company. Me and this unfortunate subject matter of racial slurs and prejudices. I don't want to and will not rehash that, but I do want people to know that I do not condone racist behavior or speech in any manner. Again, I do not plan to speak on what has happened in the past, but I would like to offer this statement about the current situation and events that hit the news today. I'm disappointed in the comments made by Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan. I've known Terry a long time and as both a work colleague and someone I consider a friend. I'm hurt and offended that he expressed his feelings in the manner and tone that was presented on the tape. I am, however, pleased that WWE took swift action in response to his comments, and I support the position the organization is taking in this matter, a no-tolerance approach to racism. So that's it. You know, so there were some positives, there were some negatives, and you know, that's it is. Unfortunately, it is what it is. So. You know, take from it what you will, and then just go from there. Honestly. All right, so we're gonna get to our final segment of the day, our dumb laws of the day, and this time we're gonna come from the state of Vermont, New England, Vermont, about a 3-hour drive from Connecticut. All right. In the dumb laws in Vermont, it is illegal to deny the existence of God. In my opinion, that's well, the state doesn't have the authority to say you have to believe in God. So, I mean, if you choose to be an atheist, that's your choice. And, I don't feel that it should be illegal, but, that's what it is. Women must obtain written permission from their husbands to wear false teeth. At one time, it was illegal to tie a giraffe to a telephone pole. I didn't know there were giraffes in Vermont. And then here's this is short this week. In a city law in Vermont, in Bear, Vermont, all residents shall bathe every Saturday night. That's it. That is it. Those are all the dumb laws from Vermont. It's been a very emotional and tough show. A lot of it having to do with my own personal reasons, and I will take this opportunity if Desiree decides to listen to this to say I love you and I'm sorry. And after everything that happened with Hulk Hogan and Colin Cowherd this week and myself, I do want to say that words, no matter what context they come in, if they're taken out of the context or even if you're taken in the right context, they're very hurtful. Words are very hurtful. The saying, words and sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. That's not true. That's why there's such a big position on bullying nowadays and trying to get bullying out of schools and out of life. The whole idea of words, and I feel like I'm Jerry Springer giving a final thought now, but it's the truth. Quite honestly, words will always hurt people. Well, they won't always hurt people. They could always hurt people. Depending on what those words are. If you're in a relationship like I am, you need to respect the relationship and not joke around with other females about, personal things or physical things that whether you intend to do it or not. If you don't want your significant other seeing something, chances are you shouldn't say it. You shouldn't even be thinking it, but you shouldn't say it. If you don't want, your significant other to see something or hear something, you shouldn't say it. End of discussion. I've learned my lesson by far because, I hurt my girlfriend by my words. And, words, unfortunately, with words comes trust. And that's all it comes down to. I'm not a major celebrity like Hulk Hogan or Colin Cowherd, but I am, I'm in a relationship. I'm a celebrity to my girlfriend. She looks to me for support, guidance. I don't know about guidance, but support and love and respect. And I didn't give that to her the way I needed to. I broke the trust because I said stupid things to somebody, and I shouldn't have said those things. So like I said, Desiree, if you're listening to this and if you made it this far, I love you, and I have learned my lesson after all this week, and I'm kind of glad that all this came out because I needed to see how words can really hurt people. And, that's all there is to it. So I want to, without ending the show on a down note, remember tonight, 6 o'clock pregame, 6:30 live kickoff, the Connecticut Panthers game live right here on Fat Cat Radio. Surf on over to Facebook.com and, definitely check out the links that will be posted on all of our sites, which will be FatCatRadioEnterprise.com, Sportswire CT, Facebook.com/Sportswire CT, Facebook.com/BDC Vinny Apicella. Follow the links, listen to it live on Spreaker. So you can even go to your Spreaker app and look up Sports-Wire, And as always, you could subscribe to and download from iTunes. Go to iTunes.com, click on the podcast page, and search Sportswire. Look for our flame logo and subscribe. It's as simple as that. Every new episode will come directly to your listening device. So thank you for listening, folks. I hope you've had a great time with this, and I hope you will open your mind before you judge people, before you say something, and think about it. Especially to you guys out there, if you don't want your girlfriend seeing something, don't think that you have to hide it. Just don't say it, because you need to show your girlfriend respect and love and trust, and that goes for married people and dating people as well. Words have the tendency to really hurt people. As a matter of fact, I think the word is the worst weapon in the world because it could really hurt. So, folks, have a great day. Have a great afternoon. Listen to the Connecticut Panthers, and that's it. Have a great time.